Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. So, apologies for that background noise you hear. That's the pool thing that's making noise. So let me get past that. But good morning, good day, evening, whenever you're getting a chance to watch this. Oh, I just wanted to make a little noise here, and that's what it feels like inside my body right now today. What is this like? Are we on our? I'm not sure what day this is on our inside work / doing everything from home lives right now. But I'm feeling a little grrr this morning. I've been a little snappy, I'll be honest, with my family. And so I know when that's happening, it takes me a lot to get to that place of not regulating my frustration very well. So here it is. I'm outside growling and walking around with you. And that's what we're doing today. I'm also checking on my new, I don't know if you can see my new raised bed, yay, that we made. This was the plan to do it anyway, but you know, this is kind of nice for me to have a little distraction as well as to grow some stuff, and I'm excited about that. But I mostly want to pop in today just to support you all and what has happened with your work, what's happening with your clients, what's happening in your practice, what's happening in your own system, you know. And so I'll just share what's going on with you. Today is like the frustrations bubbled this morning. It was bubbling last night, but it is especially, I woke up like, I don't want to do this day. I'll be honest. And not because anything different than yesterday. It's just because it's hard to not know what's going to happen, right? And so we have fears and frustrations, just like our clients do. And, you know, it's not easy being the calm one all the time. And so I know where my limits are too, and not feeling so calm today. I'm pretty grateful that I actually had a cancellation, even though, you know, we're all struggling, not struggling, but we're probably all feeling the impact of less work right now. So anyway, I just want to share with you, like, yeah, I have those feelings too. I'm not immune. I'm definitely not immune, and want to let you all know that it's really normal. So the question for you is, what are you doing with your grrr? Are you literally growling? Like, I encourage my clients all the time, especially those who have really suppressed anger and it's coming out through like chewing and emotional eating. Hi, Melissa. This call really is just about supporting you in your grrr or your frustration or your worry. And it's okay to feel like you kind of had enough too, just like your clients. So I'm happy to support you, Melissa, and anybody else watching this. You can tag me if you're watching the replay of any questions you have about like feeling your own feels and what are you doing with it. And so, Melissa, I know you just hopped on, but I was showing people my raised bed, which I already had in the works anyway, but I'm especially happy we have it right now so I can get my hands in the dirt and sweat a little bit when I need a break from inside. So, I'm curious, like, what is the adjustment to being more home looking like for you? So for me, for example, I would say honestly, because my practice is all pretty much online, I would say I've had about at least a 25% decrease at least. So if let's say, yeah, that's about right, of people who have maybe pushed off their appointments for another 2 or 3 weeks, or people who have just canceled outright and said, like, I don't know when I'll be back. There's been some of that, and not a lot of new phone calls. So I think that is pretty to be expected when people are struggling. Some of it I think is for two reasons. Some people have legitimately, like, someone in their home has lost their job, or they don't know what's going to happen. And some of it is the character strategy of our clients is that when they get stressed, they retreat. And so I've been trying to unpack with the clients that have felt that way, how that is memory time stuff, but isn't congruent with what their current situation is. So tell me below if that's happening for you, if you're noticing that too, and how you're helping your clients, like, what is the reality of their situation, and you know, what's the reality of ours. So like I said, the way I do practice in business hasn't changed, but I think what I do talk to clients about this last week and this week has changed, which is a lot more like day to day managing the ups and downs. Because I'm noticing, again, in clients, things are happening in two things. People are really like very volatile in and out of their window of tolerance, or just staying high activation, anxious all the time. And it's obviously really impacting their hunger and fullness, either not eating, eating with not much awareness, which is, again, to be expected. But, our clients feel bad about this. And so we are kind of doing the both and of like, of course this is happening, and what would they like to see happen? So basically doing a lot of that, and a lot of like, hey, stop watching scary movies. I worked with a client yesterday, and she really doesn't have, she's in a pretty good situation in terms of finances and at-home support with family and other people. And so she's got a lot of good things going for her, but she does tend to be her boundaries right now, still energetically, are still pretty porous around what everybody else is doing. Maybe I must be doing too, which is freaking out. And just helping her recognize, oh, we're doing that thing. That's old. I mean, we've had better boundaries the last year and a half. And let's go back to the basics of what works for you, which is, we did 2 or 3 different regulation exercises and regular eating, which is more eating with her boyfriend again and with me, and remembering that, getting thinner made you numb. And that's what you're looking for, because the weight loss part of it was actually pretty miserable, because she likes food and she likes living. She's full of life when she's not in her eating disorder. So just reminding her of those things that, like, this time too shall pass, and don't throw away all that she's already gotten. One second. What? Yeah. I am. Yeah. And so the other part, so doing a lot of that kind of work, and I'm wondering if that's what's happening for you too. And then the other part, as you just noticed, is that I have pretty much 24/7 company, right? Yeah. And it's been wonderful to have her around more, but of course, it's more to manage with, and like I said, I'm lucky. I have a very, my child is in her a little bit more independent stage. That's Jordan. You can do more for yourself versus when you were like 2 or 3, right?
I am not 2 or 3.
I know, you're getting so big.
Oh, whoops.
So there's that there's more, I have some space to actually do some work, and I definitely have a lot of empathy, because I've been there too, working from home with a baby and a toddler, and it's hard. And so you're allowed to like just feel the hardness of that, and maybe you can't get done as much as you want to. That's currently where I'm at as well, because I'm doing full-time teaching with her and with work, so it is a lot, and we're not going to get as much done, and we're going to be maybe more pushed to our capacity, and that's okay. So I'm hoping you're doing what I'm doing, is like getting outside when you can, where you can, laying just flat on the floor if that's what you need to do, maybe going back to bed, eating an extra cookie, whatever it is, it's okay. And so lastly, I want to mention, if any of you had been considering doing online work, you're already transitioning some to it, or you're like, wow, I'm going to have to if I want to have an income right now, is I want to give you a few tips if you're interested. So I'm going to give a couple here if you want to hear more about like all the different little things you can do to help people as you're working online that kind of help adjust to the new environment for people. So I started doing it online real quickly. I'll share this in 2014. I'd always dabbled in doing telehealth since 2006, but it was one person here or there. But when I went to do full online in 2014, like between 2014 and 15, that was kind of this transition year of really like committing, basically, because I wasn't fully committed either. It's that, there are differences. You're not going to exactly, there's definitely pros and cons. One of the cons for people is that they're used to how things always are. They're just used to that. And so it does take some time for people to get used to, but they definitely can. The other part is that it's really important that you help them orient to the space so that your space is someplace that they might want to be. You say hi?
Hi there.
All right. That your space is somewhere they want to be. So I have many clients who orient around me to my space to help them stay present and to help them actually build a little nest and a cocoon that they want to be in their own space. Okay, so for example, like I said, I do a lot of sensory work with clients.
Hi.
And, bringing their hot water bottles or things to the session to help them ground and regulate, bringing their weighted blankets, bringing pen and paper, having some of those things ready for them before they start helps them create a space of containment. And also, having them make sure they're in a space where they don't feel easily distracted and hear lots of other noise and whatever else is going on. But the positive of that is it's a really great opportunity to be kind of basically in the wild with them in their environment of the things that are going to potentially impact their food, right? So there's one thing to be in your office, sorry for the brightness, the one thing to be in your office and, it's this nice container for them, which is awesome, but you also get to learn more about what they actually experience, how they're different when they're in their own home with certain people around. And you know good and well that that's the experiences they're having with their food when they're outside your office. So you get to learn a lot. So have them orient to your space and have them bring some containment to their own space. Another thing I would suggest you do is just really talk it out. What feels good about it? What feels different? And just process those things. You don't make it like a elephant in the room thing. Like, yeah, let's talk about what this feels like to be in your own space and see me across the screen. Some people actually like screens because it provides a little bit of a buffer. It doesn't. They're telling you the same things, but they might feel actually a little safer because sometimes being in a relationship is so provocative. That's the exposure. We talk about food exposure. Sometimes being in a relationship is the exposure, and it brings up stuff. So having a screen is a little bit of protection. And that's something I didn't anticipate when I started doing online work 5 years ago, but I found for complex trauma clients.
Not 5 years ago, you worked in an office.
Yeah, I did. I did both. Yes, I worked at office 5 years ago. And as I've transitioned, I've recognized that that's something I didn't anticipate, is that there's a level of relational safety with the screen. And you get to help them kind of work through that. And so that's something to also just acknowledge and notice how that helps or hurts, what they want to practice. And you just have to address those things. The cool thing about having your clients, you're in your home, they're in their home, is that I do way more food eating experiments with people. Cooking, I go into their kitchens with them. I've helped people cook hundreds of meals, and it's been super cool. Get in your own kitchen. This is your own space. How do you want it to be? That's a great benefit, and I love that. So again, I can go on and on. I think when you're working with kids, it's in adolescents, if you're working with adolescents, especially and younger adults, that they love being in their own room so much more than being in an office. I've discovered that over the last 5 years, that adolescents love being in their own space, having their stuff, having their pet, having their favorite blanket, and using their own resources to help them be in relationship with me and the food at the same time, which is really cool. So anyway, I would be happy if you're interested to work on compiling a list of the pros and cons and how to work through some of the cons of online work. Now, if you want to know the nuts and bolts of the admin part of things, of administration and all the HIPAA stuff, that's probably a separate post. But I want to talk about just in the trenches of doing the counseling work. There's some things that, we miss out, but I think there's just so many benefits too that we could be appreciating right now. So if you have any questions about this and what you're experiencing, I really want to help you guys walk through if you are transitioning to any kind of online work. If you're not, and this is just a fun video to watch, great. I love that too. But I think it's hard. You know, if you've never done this, it is hard to transition mentally around it. And I hope this is, I hope this was just a helpful video for you, and it was just kind of helpful for me to connect with you, because I was feeling the grrr this morning. And if you watch the very beginning of this video, the first thing I did was take a deep breath and I growled. So I highly encourage you to do that. Have your clients do that, especially those who you could tell that like are wound really tight right now. And if you could tell, if you can really sense that they're frustrated, invite them just to give a big growl before we even talk about the food. I don't know about you, but I feel like I need a, right now, it's hard. Or cry. Or be scared and name what the scared is about. And then we can like really understand and observe what's happening with the food. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Please tag me below if you have questions about online practice. If you need some personal support, please let me know. I would be happy if some of you are interested to do a spontaneous call this week, just to check in. I wanted to do a call on Friday, just again, possibly even Zoom if anybody's interested. So just put your name below if you're interested in I'd be happy to do a free little, let's just check in what's going on with y'all call and see each other's faces and talk a little bit. If you're interested in that, please put your name below as well. So thank you so much for my ramble and my offer to listening to this offer of support, because we all need it right now. And, you know, I feel like, yeah, I'm not trying to jump the gun, move too fast, like just Pollyanna anything, but I also feel like right now, amidst the fear and uncertainty and frustration, there's also, like every day I'm learning. Every single day I'm learning about like my own capacity and how I want to work with clients and what people really, really need under stressful situations, and getting to the nitty gritty and the basics of things and really hearing and seeing each other. I'm learning something about that every single day, personally, professionally, and I'm happy to share it. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.